Joining me live is Resources Minister Keith Pitt for more on this. Thanks very much for your time. It was a big move at the time, of course, for then Nationals leader Tim Fischer to throw his weight behind this. Do we need to be ever vigilant, take a fresh look perhaps at some of the gun control laws in Australia?
Oh, firstly, Tom, great with your viewers. And this is going to be a very difficult day in Tasmania, and my heart goes out to all of those individuals who I'm sure are doing it tough, those that lost family members or were directly involved. So, and I take your comments earlier, it was, and it is, a very sombre event. Now, I think that the government got it right at the time. I think the balance is about right. And the late Tim Fischer certainly took on this issue very strongly against a lot of resistance, I have to say. But the balance is right, and I think that's been proven over the years. Well,
let me just go then to some of the things that have changed since then. And this is essentially at a state level. The 28-day cooling off period to buy a second gun, that's been scrapped in several states. Relaxed laws on silencers. Gun owners can also move states now and fall off the gun registry. All of these things make it easier for another mass shooting, do they not?
Oh, well, look, Tom, I don't agree with that. I mean, the states are making their own decisions. This is something which you generally consult with the Commonwealth, and it's done through Ministerial Council meetings and others. But I'll declare an interest. I'm a licensed weapons holder myself and have been for many years. So those individuals out there who are, they're not criminals, they're just legitimate sporting shooters going about there every day. For many Australians, weapons are a tool of trade that they use consistently, and I think the balance is right.
But again, that 28-day cooling off period, let's just look at that in isolation. What's wrong with that, with getting a second gun? This is the sort of measure you bring in to avoid people getting multiple weapons when they're perhaps in this sort of frantic state.
Well, Tom, I mean, that's a question to put to the state that made the changes. But at a fundamental and practical view, well, you need to give me a bit more detail. I mean, what sort of weapon? What was the difference? What was the need? What was it used for? And, there is a lot of difference between the different weapons that are available. But look, Tom, I don't think this is the day for the debate. This is a day about remembering those individuals that were lost. It was a very tragic set of circumstances. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrific. And I just don't know how to describe the feelings for those poor people down there that were involved.
Well, plenty of advocates are keen to have the debate, and indeed some were there at the time wanting to make sure these laws are upheld. But look, anyway, we'll perhaps delve into it more on another day. Iron ore, record price. It's a huge boost for our budget, mainly driven by China. Given where relations are at right now, do we need to be thinking about a plan B for our iron ore if it joins the naughty list, if you like?
Well, the price is through $190 US. That is a new record. I think it's around 195 on the spot price. And it didn't happen by accident, Tom. This is due to a number of matters, but first and foremost, it's the hard work of the men and women in the resources sector and the fact that all levels of government, companies, individuals got together through the pandemic period, found a way through and managed to maintain Australia's supply into the market, and that market is picking up. This is all about demand and supply, and as steelmaking gets back online, well, there's more demand for iron ore, and other countries have got themselves in very difficult positions in terms of the COVID outbreak, and we're taking advantage of that opportunity.
They do now, but this is the question. They might not always. Clearly, we can see the tension between Australia and China. We've got beef and barley, for example, wine, trying to rapidly find other markets for their exports. Should we be looking, as I said, at a plan B now or diversification on iron ore?
Well, we've been successful in a number of cases. I mean, coal's a great example. We found other markets for those coal exports. Iron ore goes to steelmaking, Tom. So the demand from steelmakers across the world is what drives it. There are large increases in China and the world's economy is picking up. But fundamentally, it's the fact that competitors, particularly in Brazil, are not able to supply, which creates the shortfall, and that creates demand and price increase. And now companies are out there.
So there's no work going on right now that they've got their contingency. So is the federal government doing any work in this space, though, as I said, on a plan B down the track?
Well, the budget's not far away, Tom, and I'll have a bit to say about what we are doing in terms of strategies around world markets and what we intend to do to make sure we continue to diversify those opportunities. But we have done a lot of work
that include iron ore?
In recent years about, well, as I said, budget's not far, don't have to wait long. But we do have any number of free trade agreements we've put in place, multilaterals, bilaterals, all of which have helped during this difficult period. Now we continue to work with our Chinese counterparts. They are our biggest trading partner and we'll continue to do that.
I'm sure you'll make time for us during the budget week, and we can stop talking about the theoretical. Just finally, though, Keith Pitt, I know you've been a proponent in the past of nuclear energy. Are you pushing, you have a senior role within government, to at least look at legislation to make nuclear energy in Australia possible, legal, because it's not at the moment?
Oh, there's no intention to change the moratorium. That would require an agreement with the opposition and, of course, support from the Australian people. But we have included small modular reactors in the technology roadmap. I still think there's an opportunity for Australia to build technical capacity around that technology into the future, and we need to make a start. So I think we do need to invest in bringing those individuals in, building up universities, providing additional courses, and, of course, having more technical capacity in Australia. We export uranium. Right. We're trying to land the low-level radioactive waste facility in South Australia. And once again, I'd say to the opposition, it's a good point here to support us.
So do you think you need a concrete plan and strategy, for example, for a small modular reactor, have that in place before going to Labor and the Australian people and then asking to end the moratorium? Is that the order you imagine things going in?
Well, look, I think the Australian people are up for a conversation. Unfortunately, the moment you mention nuclear, the opposition goes nuclear and looks for political point scoring. I think it's in Australia's interest to look to build other opportunities for our economy. This is a technology that's used right around the world. And I think our people are just as smart as everyone else is. We should get involved and provide opportunities for jobs and future growth. And I think there is a lot of work that we can be doing.
Keith Pitt, we'll have to leave it there. Talk again soon. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, Tom.